Does making meth open portals to the demonic realm? I've got a second time guest here who is an expert in the meth game and everything that comes with it. Everybody, I'd like you to meet Lindsay. Many of you might remember her from the video Meth Monsters. She also was just on Soft White Underbelly, sharing her amazing testimony of the turnaround of her life, going from using and selling to having an amazing life and somewhat of a ministry also. So, Lindsay, thank you so much for coming back on and for coming to hang out with us again.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
So, let's just get right into it. I mean, you have lived that life, the life and everything that came with it.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what that was like?
It was pure chaos. I mean, in a way, it was pure pandemonium. There was never a dull moment. I mean, it was just like something was always happening. Like I never realized how much I missed a boring life. I mean,
Yeah.
it was constant. It was just constant. You never had time to stop thinking.
And with that, you never slept.
No,
Also,
never
right?
slept. Never slept. Never ate, never slept,
Probably surrounded yourself with some interesting people too.
A very collective group of friends, I called them.
I like that. Collective. Nice.
Yeah.
Now in the idea of making meth, that's in the Bible under something that we call pharmakia, which is a mixing of potions, which is actually witchcraft.
Yes.
What kind of things and like what kind of things did you see, and how did people act when they were on this drug or when they were involved in the making of this drug?
I mean, like when you're making it and you're smoking it into the jar, like you can see like these spirits forming, like you can see them. Like people say they see things, so you're really seeing those things. I mean, like you see shadow people, those people are really there. It's really hard to explain just to the common person because they look at you like you're crazy. But
Right.
I mean, it's the devil. It's the devil.
Absolutely. And it was so wild because I was one of those people thought that I was just crazy, like seeing things. And then when I started this channel and started talking about these things, it was so
crazy.
interesting that everybody saw the same thing, right?
You
like isn't that
made me feel normal. Like when I started watching your channel, it made me feel normal. Like, okay, somebody else has experienced this.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like it's almost like a battle for your soul, right? So you've got like all of this demonic entities and witchcraft, and then you have,
I used to say, you're not going to make me think I'm crazy because I still think those same thoughts now sober as I did when I was getting high. So therefore, I know it just wasn't because I was getting high, but people were trying to make me believe. They were trying to make me believe it because I was high. Do you see what I'm saying? But no, that shit was really going on around me.
yes, absolutely. I mean, and I also believe that as much as the devil was fighting over you, it was because God had his hand on you.
Yes.
And there was a calling on your life, right? Because you have this calling on your life. And so tell us a little bit about how you got into meth in general.
I was introduced by a family member. I mean, I didn't think it was normal, but after I got into it for a while, I saw more and more and more people doing it. Like, it's very common in this area of the country. Like, your normal person that smokes weed in other households, it's meth in this part of the country. I mean, it's really bad down here. It's really, really bad down here.
And down here is, for those of us who don't know,
Southern Indiana.
mm-hmm,
Southern
Southern.
Indiana. Yep. I
Yes.
mean, it's horrible. It's horrible.
And so your family had already been doing this for a while, right? Like generations.
Just like one of my family members, like they were the
Okay.
black sheep, you know what I'm saying? And then it was like, I don't know what intrigued me with it. I don't know if it was because I hate to say I was more productive on it, Jamie, because it's like Mark said, this isn't meant to be an endorsement video for the drug. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
I felt like I got more out of my day. Like I
Yeah,
seriously did.
absolutely. There was some pluses to it, right? Like for me,
There was.
yeah, when I started it, like first of all, like, at first it feels good, right?
Yeah,
It like releases these, endorphins in your brain and you feel
yeah,
happy. You feel like you can get a lot done. I remember like as a mom being like, "Oh, I can like clean my whole house and I can start all these projects."
yeah.
I mean,
I get everything done.
everything done and take care of the kids and not be tired. Like, wow,
But
this is great. And also with a woman who has always struggled with, body dysmorphia and eating disorders, it
yes,
was
yes. It was
quite
a
a piece.
self-confidence booster like you wouldn't believe. But the
Yeah.
difference is, Jamie, when we were doing what we were doing, the drug was different. The drugs changed now. I honestly believe when women hit the age 30, whatever this drug is now, it makes them go batshit fucking crazy. And
Mm.
it's women. It's women. It's not even in the men, it's the women. And I don't understand it. It's crazy down here. It's nuts.
Something
Some
in
of the
like
shit.
the hormones or
I don't know what, I don't know if it's the chemical imbalance. I don't know what it is, but I mean, I've seen some wild fucking shit down here, man.
tell me about it. Tell me about it.
I mean, you can see your average person that, like, I went to high school with, you know what I'm saying? And you won't even recognize them. Like, you won't even recognize them because they've just, oh, no teeth, nothing. Like, I don't even understand it. And like, they lived a better life than I ever lived. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I guess they just let it completely consume them. Like, they didn't know how to get out of it. You know, I wanted to get out. That was the difference. I wanted to get out. Some people don't even know how to get out.
Right. Or that
And
that is even an option.
or even see, and me going to jail in Washington, Indiana, that they offer a drug rehab program inside their jail. Like, a lot of people could learn from that jail. That, I swear, that's the only thing that got me clean, was starting that from inside that county jail, because I was already sober starting it.
Right. Right. So, like when you were like into all of this and it was like a lifestyle and atmosphere, right? It was very like
Yeah.
fast paced. There's a lot of
Like
demonic
when I would
like
go cook a batch of dope, I'm going to work. I was going to work. That's what I called it. I mean, it was a job.
right, right. And also there is a very interesting sexual side to meth.
Man, there are some areas I want to hit, but I know it's going to be very sensitive. Like what it is now, what it does to men is very weird.
Yeah.
It, it's very weird what it does to men now. And
Yes.
I don't even want to talk about it because I don't want no backlash, but it's like, I don't understand it. It didn't
Yeah.
used to be like that.
It's like these like perverse spirits and things and the pornography and the
And it's more like sexual deviant stuff. Like it's not
yeah.
even normal stuff. Like it's
Mhm.
off the wall crap. Like what?
Yeah, yeah, it definitely brings out a wild side. I remember for me, it was just like, being able to do it for so long. Like that
Yeah,
was like
yeah.
that was the highlight, right? Was being able to go and the men being able to go for so long, right?
Right.
But
Oh
but
man. I
now
don't
it's
miss
like
it though. I don't miss it. I don't
mm,
miss nothing about it. I mean, some
mhm,
things that, like, I'm not gonna lie, I had some really good times. Like the summer of 2015 was probably the best year I ever had in my life.
yeah,
but
yeah.
but that's also the year I start to get clean too. I mean,
Hmm.
it was like I was done. I was done.
Now you have kids or no kids?
I have two boys. I have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Okay, I thought so. I thought you had kids. Okay.
Yeah.
So you had your kids in addiction or sobriety?
My oldest, this is kind of funny. I was in prison for 18 months and got sent home on work release. And I literally I can tell you the day down to a 2 hour window that I got pregnant with him, the day I
Wow.
come home from prison. And then
Wow.
my second one, I got pregnant with him while I was in rehab.
And so, yeah, you had somebody waiting for you. You're like, I'm gonna be home at this time.
Yeah,
You better be
yeah,
there.
yeah.
That's my girl.
Yep.
That's my girl. Um, yeah. So were you now when you went on home for work release or whatever, like were you using then?
No, no.
Okay.
Every during all my pregnancies, I never used, not one time. Not
Wow.
one time. Yeah.
So, but and how long was your prison term? How long did you have left when you got pregnant?
9 months.
Okay.
I actually hid it because I was in DOC work release. I was still state property at that point, and they weren't a medical holding facility. So if they would have found out I was pregnant, they would have shackled me back out to prison where it was a medical holding facility. So Jamie, I literally for 7 months, I hid my pregnancy. I never went to a doctor, never took prenatal vitamins, slept on a top bunk in work release. I mean, I'm falling off this top bunk. The only reason why they even knew I was pregnant was because I turned to the side one day and they could see my stomach. And a girl had
Mhm.
wrote a statement on me. She wrote a statement on me thinking it was going to keep her ass out of trouble. Well, it just ended up getting me a doctor's appointment. The day I went to the doctor, they told me what I was having and signed me up for a C-section date. That's how soon it could have been.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's fast moving.
Yeah.
So then you get out of prison, and what happened? Obviously you had a baby.
I go home to Mount Vernon, Indiana, and I go home to a complete abusive relationship. I mean, to be honest with you, the only thing good that came out of that relationship was my son. I don't think that it even would have been a relationship if drugs wouldn't have been involved in the beginning and I didn't need a place to stay. Like that's what the relationship was. And then I got locked up. So more than over half of the relationship, I was locked up. And then I come home and get pregnant. You know what I'm saying? When we end up moving back to Evansville, he pours drain cleaner down my throat. We get caught with a bunch of dope. We go to jail. I haven't seen or talked to the man since.
Wow. And
Yeah.
and can I ask why he poured drain cleaner down your throat?
We were arguing. We
Okay.
were arguing. Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. I feel like that's also like a spirit, like a violent, abusive spirit.
Like when he would do this shit, Jamie, it's like he would turn around and put his back towards me, and when he would turn back around, it was like he was a completely different person. Like his voice would change, his demeanor would change, his eyes would change. He would talk about himself in third person. Like he was a completely different person at that point.
So completely demonized, like totally possessed, taken
Like
over.
completely. Like he would even say, "It's time for Mr. Mean Guy to come out." I mean, it was fucking wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a pretty severe
It was
possession.
like being in a fucking horror movie, man. Like you didn't know what was going to happen.
Mhm. So, did you see like more than one person inside of him? Was there more? Were
Oh
there?
yeah. Oh yeah. It just depends. Like I really feel like he had a hatred for women, and whatever I would do, it would bring out a different side in him. You know what I'm saying? Like there was levels to it. There was different levels to it. If that
Right,
makes any type of sense. Like he
right.
was wild. He was wild, man. Like I still don't talk to him. I don't even
Yeah,
let my son know who he is. And I know
yeah.
that probably sounds horrible, but I have him out with my mom and my stepdad because I wanted him to see a healthy, functioning man and woman's relationship. I did not want him growing up putting his hands on women, thinking that was normal.
Absolutely, because that is never okay. Ever, ever,
No,
ever okay.
no, no.
So how long were you in that relationship for?
From '09 till 2014.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. So that was
yeah.
quite a bit of trauma and abuse that you suffered from that. And
I
I
mean,
mean,
a lot of it I stayed loaded because if I stayed loaded, it didn't hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't feel it.
Right, absolutely. It
Or
was
or
almost
or I
like,
could get with him. I could fight back. You know what I'm saying?
hmm, yeah, it was almost like he was like sent by the devil just
And it was
for,
like what I was doing was survival mode, you know? I mean, I didn't know what else to do at that point. It's like I had this baby. I didn't know what else. I can remember Jamie sitting with Jake. He was probably 6 months old and just covering him because he was whipping me with an electrical cord on my back. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Just so he wouldn't hit the baby.
yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness. And he's still out there like this.
man. I don't even want to set him out there like that, but he was doing so fucking good. Like, there was a time where I had to actually go stay with him. I actually had to go stay with him after all this. Like, this was just 4 or 5 years ago. I had to stay with him for 9 months and he was doing really well. And he's kind of slipped back now.
Yeah, unfortunate. The stronghold, especially with, I feel like in this season, the devils are getting like bigger and dirtier. Like they're pulling out all the stops, and they don't play fair.
I think a lot of his is guilt though. Like, how should I say? He's feeding his addiction with his guilt that's fueled by what he did to begin with.
Right,
I mean, all this depression comes from this damn drug. We dismantled our whole lives because of this drug. The
right.
only way to fix is to not do it anymore.
Yeah, right. To just get like totally like sober and just do. Yeah. That's it's really hard when
When you've done something
love.
for so long, I mean, when it's been in your life for so, I mean, it's like smoking cigarettes to some people. It's
Mhm.
hard to change. It's just hard.
Right. And now with your second child, that was from a
That was from,
different.
I met him in recovery. It just kind of happened. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even like to say it like that, but that's the son I put up for adoption. Um,
Mhm.
I kind of was made to make a choice by someone in my family. I was never going to see my oldest if I didn't put my second up for adoption because they said it wasn't fair. It made sense. And from the time I found out I was pregnant with him, I kind of felt like I was meant to have him to watch someone else raise him. So I
Right.
was able to give him to a woman that wasn't able to have children. And I get so much out of that. I get so much out of watching her raise him. I mean, it's just like I was able to give her something she was never going to be able to have.
Right.
And
And you get to have relationship.
oh God, he still calls me mom. And I mean, he's with a doctor and a social worker. I couldn't ask for a better family.
Yeah, wow. That is awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just, God turning, all things for good. You know what I
Well,
mean?
they adopted again, Jamie, and they adopted my boyfriend's first cousin's baby. We went through an adoption agency. This is just like, I said, what? When we all were at the meeting, I was like, what is going on right now? Like, two kids that were never even supposed to meet each other are now brothers.
That is divine intervention right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the street they live on is called Lindsay Avenue. I mean, it's just like everything just connects.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a really awesome blessing. Um,
Yeah.
so like when you when you decided that you were going to, totally give everything up, you went to jail
I went to
again?
jail. Yeah. I had been on the run for that whole time I was out in 2015. I got out on a Friday afternoon. I was supposed to report to probation. I said, fuck them and never reported. That was in July. They finally caught up with me in January.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I
Um,
was on the run the whole time. I mean, the whole time. And I don't know how I did it. I really don't.
yeah. Yeah. It's not fun being on the run. Always having to like look, on your back and being scared and nervous,
No, it's not. Because then
anxiety.
you never know what you're going to get caught with on top of it.
Yeah, I know. No more new charges, right? No more new
I would
charges.
just say I don't wear pockets or purses because I'm not trapping myself no more.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I don't blame you at all. So let's talk about your life and recovery and how that came about and what that looks like today.
When I was sitting in jail in Vanderburgh County,